Welcome back, Mr. Rolo here, and today I'm going to be ranking Lana Del Rey's albums. She has 9 albums, and I already did this beforehand. So I took each song, basically gave it a score on each album, gave it a score, and then added them up, found the average, and then from there, I just did the entire album like that. So yeah, there's 9 albums, and I ranked them all. I did not rank the songs, I just ranked the albums for now. I could do the songs if this is something people like, but I just think Lana has an amazing discography, but there's a couple weaker ones for me, and I'm interested to see if people agree with me or if they don't. And I'm pretty sure the general consensus, her top 3 is going to be pretty standard for most people, but I think at least, I'm not sure even. I'm not, I love Lana, but I don't know her community that well, so I guess we'll see how people react to this and if it pisses people off, but whatever. I like ranking things, and yeah, let's just do it. And number 9, we have Honeymoon. So this, in my opinion, is my least favorite album from her. Right off the bat, to be honest, I don't go back to many of these. I don't know this album that well. Maybe that's my issue. So the way I listen to music is I start at the beginning of the discography, and I tend to go, keep going. And so basically I go album by album. So Born to Die, I listen to a bunch. Paradise, I listen to a bunch. Ultraviolence, I listen to a bunch. But so the first 3 I did a lot, and then I think this is the next one from there. It never interested me that much, or maybe I just never got to it really, but the total average of this album was a 7.42, so 7.4 pretty much out of 10. So, which honestly is still insanely good for an artist. So it's not like I don't like it. And when I rank these, I listen to all the songs again just to refresh my memory of everything, but let me just go through it real quick. The highlights for this album, for me, there is 4 that were above an 8. So basically, the highest one for me was The Black Day, or The Blackest Day, excuse me. I got an 8.8, so almost a 9, which is really, really solid song. And then from there, we go Honeymoon, the first song, 8.6. And then 8.3, Don't Let Me Be Misunderstood. And then the last one above an 8 is High by the Beach. So yeah, those are my favorites off the album. But yeah, the ones that really brought down the average, let's see, it seems to be SS, which is Swan Song. Dang. Swan Song got a 6.5. Freak got a 6.6, and then Art Deco got a 6.7. So those kept the average down, and the other ones obviously rose it pretty high. Gave it a total of 7.42. I don't have that many opinions about this album because I don't know it super well. So that's just kind of where I'm at with this album. At number 8, we have Paradise, which is kind of surprising to me. I listen to this one a lot. But the biggest issue with this one, I feel like, is there's a couple really, really, really good standouts. And then the rest kind of just, they don't really do that much for me. So let's look at the ranking. It is 7.82. So this one got a 7.82. Honeymoon got a 7.42. So that's a pretty big jump, actually, if you look at how rankings work and everything. But then again, this is a lot shorter. It's like an EP. So it should be higher because the quality of the stuff should be better, quality over quantity. So when looking at this album, Paradise, you could see Burning Desire, Young and Beautiful on here. I just add from around the time period, I add the songs to the end of the album. I did not include these in the rankings. So that's full disclosure. There is actually a 10 and a 9.9 on here, which is wild. So the 10 I gave to American, and she is I don't know how many 10s, but there's not that many. Maybe 9 or 10, I think, something like that. And one of them is on here, so a 10. 10 for American, 9.9 for Ride. And then from there, we go 8.1 for Cola, 8.0 for Gods and Monsters. But then, yeah, this is the one that really hurts it, to be honest. Yayo. Yeah, Yayo, I give a 5.6. So I just was looking this over, actually. I don't use I didn't add Burning Desire and Young and Beautiful. Because if I did, that would help it a lot. I just did like the standard album, whatever. So, but honestly, Paradise, I absolutely like the first 3 songs are great. And then it's like Body Electric's cool. I give it a 7.7 or 7.6. So like, I really like it. And then Blue Velvet gets a little weak for me. Gods and Monsters is actually pretty good. I gave it an 8.0. But then, yeah, it's really Yayo and Belair. Like, they don't do much for me. I don't know if it's just me, but 5.6 and then a 6.1 for Belair. So, okay. And then at number 7, we have Blue Banisters. Now, this one I thought would be my least favorite album, actually. So, I remember when this came out, COVID was like kind of going away, or not going away, but it was kind of dying down, COVID. And I remember she released 2 albums in 1 year, and I was like, what is she doing? Like, that's just way too much music. But honestly, like, I re-listened, and it's not as bad as I thought. I thought this would be last for sure. This one or Chemtrails, I thought these would be last for sure. But then I re-listened, and honestly, like, I give the ranking, and Blue Banisters is not bad at all, actually. It's solid. This one got a 7.87. So Paradise 7.82, this one's 7.87. So it's a little step up. And that's impressive, the fact that there's 15 songs on here. Yeah, there's like 3 or 4 really big standouts that hold this album, the average up really high. I gave Arcadia a 10, so that's the highest ranked one in this album. And Black Bathing Suit, that got a 9.2. Beautiful got a 9.0. Full disclosure, I didn't rank the trio in here because, I mean, it's just like an instrumental. And that it goes hard though. It has a really solid instrumental. So random. I don't know. I don't get the story behind that. I didn't look into this, but If You Lie Down With Me, that got a 8.8. But let's look on the flip side of that. The worst song, I think, one of the worst songs she's ever done, in my opinion, I don't like it at all, is Dealer. I give this song a 5.4. Other than that, the second lowest is 6.8. So that 5.4 brought it way down the average. So this song right here, if this was gone, it'd be even higher Blue Banisters, but I do not like that song. 5.4. And then the next is 6.8, which is Wildfire. So that's where we're at for this one, 7.87. And it is ranked number 7. All right, next up. So now we are at the 8 and above rankings, which are super solid albums, super solid. It's kind of weird because there's a bunch of deluxe bonus tracks and stuff. So Black Beauty, Flipside, Florida, Kilos, Guns N' Roses, Is This Happiness, Once Upon a Time, like a bunch of different bonus tracks or deluxe or just single things around their time. I forgot what they were exactly, but I put them all on here. However, remember, I did not rank these. So, well, I did actually give them a score, but I didn't include that in the ranking. So number 6, like I said, an 8.04. So it barely made that 8 cutoff, but it's still super solid. Okay, so the highest ranked song on this album was a 9.4. There's a 9.4, a 9.3, and a 9.1. So there's 3 that are above 9, which hopefully average. The highest ranked one I put was Ultraviolence. Just such a classic Lana song. Great song. And that was a 9.4. Next up, we have 9.3, which is The Other Woman, which is one I slept on for a while until I listened again. I was like, dang, it's a really good song. And then Old Money. That one got a 9.1. And then also Money, Power, Glory. That got an 8.8. But the lowest 3 on this album, 6.9, 7.1, 7.2. So the lowest was Cruel World, which got a 6.9, which is kind of wild. Because I usually like long songs, but 6.5 minutes was just, it felt a little too long, and that song doesn't do that much for me. And then Brooklyn Baby got a 6.8. Oh, wait, actually, that's the lowest, Brooklyn Baby. But I don't know. It's interesting because Brooklyn Baby sounds like I would love that song. Like the name, but then it just doesn't do that much for me. And Cruel World doesn't either. My girlfriend doesn't agree with me, though. She loves this album. I don't know. It's pretty solid. But it's just, for me, there's a couple that are just middle of the map for me. Like, they don't stand out that much. For me, Ultraviolence, The Other Woman, Old Money, those stand out a lot. Okay, now we have the top 5 albums, which shocked me. This one. Lust for Life. I thought I didn't like this album, really. I was not the biggest fan. But this one ended up getting an 8.06. So Ultraviolence got an 8.04. This got an 8.06. So now we're stepping up a little bit, tiny bit, but basically around the same as there. But Lust for Life, I was shocked because there's 16 songs. So let's talk. I did not think that this would be up here at all. I don't know why. This one for me never did anything for me. It was Honeymoon and this one that I never even bothered really listening to much. I re-listened and like, that's a solid album. So this one got an 8.06, like I said. For this one, the biggest strength of this album was it didn't have any like 10s or 9.8s or anything, but it had a 9.1, a 9.2. That's actually, there's the highest. 9.2, 9.1, 9.0. So there's a couple 9s, but nothing, no like high 9s. No super high 9s. But then from there, like you look, the second lowest, or no, the lowest is 7.0. So nothing goes below a 7. So 7 to 9.3, like right in there. So that made the average pretty solid. So my highest ranked song on this album is Tomorrow Never Came, which I gave a 9.2. Beautiful song. And then Love got 9.1. 13 Beaches, that got a 9.0. So those are the highest rated. And then White Mustang got an 8.9. Boom. So those are my favorite. Those are the standouts for me. But then honestly, like all the rest are really solid songs. There's none that like actively annoy me or anything. They're all great. But the lowest we got was a 7.0, which was Get Free. Yeah, that makes sense. That song never did much for me. And then from there, we go to 7.2, God Bless America and All the Beautiful Women in it. And then 7.3, we have When the World Was at War, We Kept Dancing. And this part's funny because there's so many. So it's funny she just stacked a bunch of long name songs here. But yeah, that's where we're at. Total of 8.06. So keep that in mind. All right, so now we're at the top 4 albums. And this one, the next one's the biggest surprise for me. Coming in at 8.19 at number 4, we have Chemtrails Over the Country Club. Now this one shocked me because I didn't think I liked this one. This is the one I disregarded the most. This is a long time after being locked down for COVID and everything. I remember Chemtrails came out. Now I spent a decent amount of time with this one, but at the time I was listening to other music and I didn't pay that much attention to this. So I listened once or twice and I was like, oh, it's pretty good, solid, whatever. And then Blue Banisters came out and boom, I don't know. It's just that year she did too much for me. 2 albums in 1 year it's just too much. And I definitely disregarded Blue Banisters, but I also overlooked this one as well because I'm like, oh, she's 2 albums, whatever. And I don't know. I just disregarded this one a lot. And then I went back to this. Holy crap. Me top 4? I thought this would be bottom 4 easily for me. But then I started listening. I'm like, oh my God, this is a good album. And I like the concept of it. And the album cover's sick. But yeah, so this is number 4 at 8.19. So almost an 8.2. Wow, there still is one below a 7 here. So, well, actually, let's start with the highs. So the highs for me on this, there's only 2 9s on this? Dang. See, okay, so for this one, I'm looking at the numbers right now, and there's like not that many super like standouts, but there's so many 8s in here that it's like wow, or mid 8s, and like it means the middle ground for this album is really high, and then that's what helped the average here. Wild at Heart was my favorite song on this album, which shocked me. I did not even pay attention to the song when it dropped. 9.2. And then next up we have Let Me Love You Like a Woman. Duh. I mean, 9.0 for that. 8.5s, 8.4s, 8.3s, 8.6s. Chemtrails Over Country Club, 8.6. Like, just solid all around. And then there appears to be two low ones. Okay. So White Dress, I gave a 6.8. And I do remember this song. Maybe this is what turned me off to the entire album. Like, I do not like this song that much. But I do find myself singing a lot. And I do find myself going back to this one. And like, I always thought I was to laugh at it and be like, what the heck is she doing? But no, I don't mind it barely. 6.8 is not that horrible. but that is the worst song on the album, in my opinion. And then next up, we have For Free, which I gave a 7.2. I mean, that song's still super solid. It got a 7.2, so it's like, it's solid. And I do love Way as Blood, or I don't know if that's how you say it. So I do have, obviously, Titanic Rising is a classic album, but alrighty. Top 3 Lana albums. Now, process of elimination, you've probably figured out, what these are, but whatever. At number 3, with an 8.54, so that jump is crazy. 8.19, 8.54, that jump is wild. At number 3, we have Did You Know That There's a Tunnel Under Ocean Boulevard. Such a good album. 8.54. So here it is, number 3. Did you know that there's a toast? Did you know that there's a toaster under? Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? Excuse me. Now I think it has actually 18 or 19 songs, like on the legit album. I delete skits. Sorry if it, if that pisses people off, whatever. But I delete skits. I edit things out. Like I just want to. I'll experience the art once, and then I'll typically edit things out and delete things. On here, we're just looking at 16 songs. We're not looking at 18, 19, whatever, because those added to the art. Don't get me wrong, but we're just looking at these 16 songs. 7.8 to 9.9. 7.8 to 9.9. Wow, I did not give 10s out easy at all, to be honest. A lot of people might have given them out more. I did not. I kept those strict. I think there's like maybe 4 or 5 10s on here. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard? This one got a 9.9. So this is the highest rated song on the album. Absolutely beautiful title track. Amazing. 9.8. Yes. Fingertips. 9.8. And then 9.5, Kintsugi. I love that song. And then from there, we're just going to talk about the 9s. And then 9.1. Let the Light In. Feature. Hey, first feature. That's over a 9, I think. So that's good. Those are the highs for me. I absolutely love those songs. Beautiful. VB is also really cool, but oh yeah, see, I split them up too. That is something different I do. So Taco Track, I gave it 8.3. Then VB, I gave 8.9. But the lowest points on this album, 7.7 actually is the lowest, and it's W. So shimmy shimmy cocoa buck, like at first I really liked the song and I thought it was super catchy. I mean, it's still almost an 8, so obviously I don't dislike it, but it gets a little repetitive and kind of was like a one-trick pony. It's kind of wearing off of me. The only other one, Fishtail, got 7.8, which I agree. That's like the one I kind of tend to skip. One of the lower points for me. So W is fine because technically it's part of A and W or whatever, the song, the full-length song. I split those up, but whatever. And then, yeah, from there, it's just everything else is insanely solid. Paris, Texas is a little weak for me, 7.9. But then other than that, all are 8s and 9s. So top 2. Now these were within 0.06 of each other in the rankings. So I knew they would come down to these 2 albums. I knew it absolutely. And I was just really interested to see which one will come out on top. So at number 2, we have 8.93. And then number 1 is an 8.99. So keep that in mind. Very close, almost interchangeable on days or moods or whatever. But at number 2, we have Norman effing Rockwell. I mean, is this like a surprise to anyone? I think the production on here is amazing. Jack Antonoff did his thing on this. The production on here, the track listing is beautiful. Every song is great. Just insane. And the album cover is cool. The vinyl is super cool for this. Like, it's just a beautiful album. And then if you were to add the little single things on here too, Looking for American, Season of the Witch, oh man, it would add so much shit. But anyway, we didn't do that. We just ranked these. So this one got an 8.93. So almost an average of 9 out of 10. And for me, that's crazy. I'm a critic. I'm strict. But yeah, let's look at it. So there's absolutely a 10 on here. Actually, there's 2 10s on here. I put 2 10s on here. So there's 2 10s. a 9.8, a 9.7, and a 9.6. We'll just talk about those for now. The two 10s on here. F It, I Love You, just beautiful, in my top 500 songs of all time. I love that song. And then we have Love Song. Yeah, I always forget about that one. That's a 10. F It, I Love You, Love Songs, 10 out of 10s. Some of the best songs she's ever done. And they're just so Lana. They're just so Lana. And then from there we go 9.8, Venice Bitch. Classic, obviously. It's going to be on there. And then 9.7, Hope is a Dangerous Thing for a Woman Like Me to Have, but I have it. And then 9.6, we have Happiness is a Butterfly. So those are all the ones over. Oh, yeah. And then Mariner's Apartment Complex, 9.1. And then the lowest, wait, what is the lowest on here? A 7.8, which is the greatest. Yeah, I do agree. I do think that's the weakest song on the album. And then from there, everything else. No, actually, California is 7.9. So these are the two weakest songs, the greatest and California. And then from there, we go 8 for Bartender. And then all the other ones are between 8 and 9. And a lot of them are high 8s too. So that's where this average comes from. It's just like almost a perfect album. It's so close to being a perfect album. These 14 songs, the album cover, the production, the environment created in this, just one of my favorite albums of all time. Just love this album. It's almost perfect. Honestly, if you get rid of California, the greatest, it's one of the best albums of all time. And it still is in my contention for one of the best. And let's go to number 1, which obviously I haven't named yet. 8.99, Born to Die. Almost a 9. Almost. So close. Now, we're only going to look at the non-deluxe. But if you did look at the deluxe, it adds. Every single song on here adds. Lucky Ones, amazing. Lolita, amazing. Without You is a tiny bit weaker, but still. This is her best album of all time. And the reason for that is because of how influential and how much this put her on the map. Now, this album is purely, I mean, it's going to sound dumb, but this is such a Lana album, and this is her roots, and this is where she comes from. LA, crass attitude, like all that. She created an entire genre with this. It has to be her best album of all time. It's just such a great album. And that's the only reason, I think that's what etches it out over Norman Rockwell. I think Norman Rockwell is more of an art project, and it's just beautiful, absolutely. But this had such an impact on like everything in the culture. And then also it's just absolutely amazing. Such a good album. Look at these 12 songs. This might be the closest you can get to a perfect album. Well, there's a couple out there, but this is one of the albums that's like in contention for one of the most perfect albums without needing any editing. We have 2 10s on this as well. So Off to the Races is a 10, obviously. And then Dark Paradise. Now, I think Dark Paradise is my favorite song on this album. I think it's my favorite Lana song. I think it's so Lana. It's so her. And that's what really puts the 10s out there. Like songs that are just so unique to her. Off to the Races and Dark Paradise are just embodies what she is. And I love those songs. And then from there, we have a 9.9 and a 9.8. So Summertime Sadness, 9.9, obviously. I mean, no need for explanation there. Then Born to Die, 9.8. And then 9.6, Video Games. Like, come on, there's just so many classic songs on this album. Like, it needs to be really, really appreciated. And then we have one song in the 7s. One song in the 7. And 7.7, Million Dollar Man. You just delete this, you would have 11 songs of just like perfection. And then Carmen also has like an 8.0, but I would totally keep that still. Million Dollar Man is the only one that kind of like, it kind of throws it off a tiny bit. But still, 8.99. So this is their best album, and it's just amazing. The thing that impresses me about Lana is the fact that her best albums are like spread out in a decent way. 2012, you have Born to Die. Okay. 2023, Norman Rockwell is 2019. 2023, like she still has it. if you look at some other of my favorite artists, like for example Kanye, one of the best discographies of music, Kanye. If you look at him, you can't say the same thing. The trend is definitely going down. As a person, as an artist, everything. She's showing that it's kind of the opposite. 2012, 2019, 2021, 2023. Like, I don't know. There's some years in there that weren't my favorite. I still love her, and I would shuffle all her music any day, and almost everything I really like. Dealer, probably my least favorite. There's a couple weak songs she has, but yeah, it's pretty much where we're at. One last thing I did. I'm just going to bring it up here real quick. So I took all the singles, and I added all those up. And 8.12 I got. So Lolita, Lucky Ones, Without You, Burning Desire, Young or Beautiful, Black Beauty, Flipside, Florida, Kilos, Guns N' Roses, Is This Happiness, Once Upon a Time, You Must Love Me, Summer Bummer Remix, Looking for America, Season of the Witch, Summertime, Blue Skies, Buddy's Rendezvous, Say Yes to Heaven, Take Me Home, Country Roads. So those are all the singles. I added all those up, the averages, and I got 8.12. And the ones I got over 9 there, Lucky Ones, Absolutely Amazing, Burning Desire, 9.0. Young and Beautiful, almost 8.8. And then Looking for America, 9.6. That was the highest rated single. Looking for America is a beautiful song. And then the lowest out of there, Is This Happiness, got 7.2. I think that's the lowest. No, 6.9 for Once Upon a Time. So Ultraviolence, like her bonus tracks, deluxe, whatever. 7.2, 6.8. Florida Kilos got 6.6 too. And then Take Me Home, Country Roads, 7.3. And then Lolita, 7.7. So that would have hurt it, actually, Lolita. The singles and bonus tracks, they would have... they would have got 5th after Chemtrails. All right, one last recap just to finish it. So at 9, you have Honeymoon, 7.42. Paradise, 7.82. Blue Banisters, 7.87. Ultraviolence, 8.04. Lust for Life, 8.06. Chemtrails Over the Country Club, 8.19. And then top 3. Did you know that there's a tunnel? Oh my gosh. Did you know that there's a tunnel under Ocean Boulevard, 8.54. Norman effing Rockwell, 8.93. And her best album, Born to Die, 8.99, which started her whole career off pretty much. Well, besides Lizzie Grant stuff, but you know. All right, yeah, that's where we're at. I might do songs eventually, but that gave you a pretty good idea of where my head is at for the songs. Thanks for watching.